And also, I love you, but I didn't trust you. It all adds up, and this is where we tell you how much we spent.
But until that moment, we were like, maybe they'll be born?
Yeah.
Maybe not. That was the
butt needles.
That was so
The PIO injections, they were so long and so thick.
Hello. We look like identical twins. Why? I think it's the hair. Oh no.
We're actually not identical twins. We're married. And we did fertility treatments to have our twin boys.
We are not twins. Why do we look like twins? Why?
I don't know.
This is shocking. Even I see it right now. We are not related in any way.
We've taken a DNA test. We can confirm we're not related. So we did fertility treatments, like I said, to have our twin boys. And our twins are turning 2 this month, which is just crazy. Time has flown. It's flown.
Flies. I know they say time flies. It really flies. They say it for a reason.
They do. I have baby number 3 on the brain. So we're going to talk about fertility treatments today and everything we wish we knew going into fertility treatments.
Okay, the price.
I wish we had a better idea of the price going into it.
We thought when we went in, I knew IVF was $10,000 right where we were. That's why I thought if we just spend $10,000 once, it's going to work right away. That's it. $10,000 all in. It was very wrong because we obviously didn't go right to IVF, but it's not just the $10,000 either. It's like all the subsequent transfers. We didn't do a fresh transfer, all of these things. And then the pregnancy tests and the medication, like all these things add into it.
It all adds up and you don't think about it all at the time, especially because it's a little here, a little there. It's a little here, a little there. It all adds up, and this is where we tell you how much we spent because we've calculated it. $50,000. $50,000.
So much.
And we're still paying things, even though we're not actively in fertility treatments, because we have to pay for the sperm storage, because we have frozen sperm still, because what if we decide that we want to use it and our donor's not available anymore? Our frozen embryos, we have 4 of those still in the freezer.
Yeah.
It adds up. I heard someone refer to that as a babysitting fee, and it made me laugh.
Oh, that's funny.
I wish from the very beginning we knew how important it was to have a support system and people you could talk to.
Who understood what you were going through or were going through it themselves. Like Teresa.
Name drop.
She was amazing.
She was.
You connected with her through a Facebook group. It's funny because you don't you're not like the social one.
I'm not the social one.
So then you made the initial contact and then I took her.
Yes.
And she was my friend.
Yeah.
So we started messaging all the time on Instagram, and then we did transfers 2 days apart, and we were able to talk the whole way through the transfers and then send each other our lines every day. And now her son is a couple weeks younger than the boys, so it was very cool how that worked out. We talked every single day, and it was so nice to have someone who was going through the same thing at the same time, because chances are your friends are not going through the same thing that you're going through at the same time with regards to fertility treatments. They might be, which is awesome, but if not, it's great to find some people who are going through the same thing. And Facebook groups or even just on Instagram is a great way to connect with people and find others.
It's such an isolating journey, but it doesn't have to be. You can talk to people about it.
It makes such a difference having really just one person who understands, because none of our friends understood. No. None of them have done it. You need someone who gets it.
Yeah. I wish that we knew all of the options available. So we're a same-sex couple. If you're undergoing fertility treatments for a medical reason, then your options are probably more limited, but we had a lot of options laid in front of us.
So we did, but also we didn't, because we could do IUIs, IVF, or home insemination. But at the point in time, home insemination was not an option because it was the thick of COVID. And our clinic kind of pressured us to do IUIs before IVF. We didn't feel like we could go straight to IVF.
That's very true.
So
we wanted to. We actually wanted to just...
We went into it and said, this is a higher success rate. It's a bigger cost, but for the higher success, it was worth it for us. They basically said, no, you should do IUIs. So even though it felt like there was a lot of options, there really wasn't. That was our only path.
That's true.
But maybe where you are, and it's not COVID times anymore, those might be 3 options available.
There's also something called like mini IVF or InvoCell, I think it's called. Not an option in Canada, but like that's what I mean. Explore your options where you live because there's options out there.
And it does vary so much from place to place.
It does. Yeah. So we did feel like we were pressured into doing 3 IUIs before moving on to IVF. The 3 IUIs.
Waste of time, waste of money. In our opinion.
For us.
It works for other people.
For lots of people.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I think really feels like that because we were pressured into doing it, which leads me to the next thing that I wish we were better at. You're better at it in general. I'm not. And that is advocating for yourself.
Yeah. I think you have to remember this is your journey. Ultimately, your decision and your opinions matter. So we did get better at that and being really firm. Like towards the end, we were like, no, this is what we want to do. But at the start, we were just like, okay,
whatever we didn't say, they're the expert.
Yeah, we didn't feel like we could say and decide.
And I also do feel like you have a gut intuition, and it's okay to follow that and like question the doctors too. I'm not the kind of person that ever wants to question a person in power, but especially I feel like with fertility treatments you need to. There is so much information out there, so much new research, and not all doctors follow all of it. Our fertility clinic, when we were going through fertility treatments, there was all of these things that we'd be like, well, what is this an option? Is this an option? And at the time they were like, no, there's not really that much research. And now they offer them in-house. So it's okay to advocate for yourself and be like, I have heard of this thing. Is it an option? Yes or no?
And it depends on the doctor. Even with the same clinic, they all have different opinions. Sometimes if you live in a city where there's more options, you could shop around clinics too and see what's the best fit. We only had one option and it was good. Like it wasn't a bad clinic.
No, that was actually one of my points. You're skipping ahead on my list.
Oh, okay.
I'm the one who made the list of points. I was going to say that something I wish that we knew was that we could shop around for different clinics. Again, it wasn't as much of an option for us because of COVID, but it's an option. And I feel like people just think they need to go with what's closest. I mean, economically, maybe that's the cheapest option for you. Yeah. But actually, sometimes there's clinics that are cheaper that you can travel to. And even with travel, it works out to be cheaper. We've had friends do that.
Yeah.
But it's an option. Like, you can shop around for different clinics. You can shop around for the doctor that feels right. It's such a personal journey, I feel like. Yeah. And you can do that. That's allowed. I wish that we knew that it is such a roller coaster of emotions. And like, there's good emotions, there's bad emotions. They're all valid emotions. Even with having 2 babies, I still get sad in my little soul when I see pregnancy announcements on Instagram. Like when I'm scrolling, I'm always like, oh. Or how we felt anxious the entire pregnancy with the twins. Yeah. We did not feel committed in our souls that we were gonna have 2 babies.
No,
we were like,
no. We saw
something bad's gonna happen.
We did not believe it. And then we held them and we said, okay, they're here. But until that moment, we were like, maybe they'll be born, maybe not. Your whole pregnancy, because we'd had miscarriages before that, and you just had no faith that it was going to work this time. Yeah, you really don't believe it. Or the fact that you can be jealous that someone's pregnant, but like happy for them at the same time. Like the duality of emotions there. Angry that you have to pay $50,000 when people can just have a baby for free at home. Yeah. I know, there's a lot of emotions. That's so angering. I wish we knew that it wouldn't go the way we thought it would. We went into it being like, okay, if this is the month, then by this time we'll have a baby, blah, blah, blah. I think the biggest thing is take the timelines away. Once we did that, once we were like, okay, I found it a bit easier because you'd get to the time and then it didn't happen. Yeah. And you were like, the time that you imagine that you'd have a baby. Yeah. Like, oh, well, this time next year we'll have a baby. Like all the Christmas. Calculating, just like once I stopped doing that, I found it more peaceful. Kept changing that plan, and it just wasn't working. So kind of throwing the plan out the door, it was helpful for me. Yeah. And I wish I did that sooner. Yeah. Because we were just really naive and like, oh, it's going to work. It's going to work the first try. We just thought, oh, it's one of those people. Yeah. And then it wasn't. And our fertility journey took a couple of years. Yeah. And yeah, it was not the timeline that we imagined for ourselves. I don't know if this is just an us thing, but I had no idea
before starting fertility treatments, how much testing we'd need to do ahead of time and how long that would take.
Yes.
I don't know if it's just here.
I don't know if it's just here. Like, maybe it's other places too. Maybe it's not like this where you are. But it was like months. Probably April to October of testing. But then it was like weird things went wrong. Like this blood thing got lost. Yeah. And the blood, they used the wrong tube. So like it really prolonged it. It did. But if you couldn't even like get a list of the testing that you need, like blood work before getting to the fertility clinic, like that could potentially speed things up. Yeah. If we had all this testing done. Why do I need a test?
You weren't doing anything at that point, but you were like, yeah, why?
Why? What a waste.
But yeah, there was so many testing.
It was irritating.
I mean, there was so many things.
I get it.
And I was so naive. I was like, oh, we're just
go in and do it.
Sperm in there and we're good to go.
Easy peasy. It was so much longer. The wait times in between everything was so long. And they're like, oh, we call on your next day one. And oh, it was so long. Also, that was the worst part.
Wait, this isn't just us thing. It's just our clinic thing.
Yeah.
Okay, how long it took to do an embryo transfer? I see people be like, okay, it's my day one, so we're going to do an embryo transfer in like 2 weeks.
Or they do natural cycles some places where they'll just like put the embryo in.
Well, that is not how things were done here when we did fertility treatments. It would take 2 months because you needed to get your day one and then you needed to start your medication on a certain day and then you needed to get another period, but sometimes the medication would delay your period, so then you need to take another medication to make your period come, and then it was your day one again, and then you could transfer that month. Do you remember?
Maybe.
If your lining's not thick enough.
Maybe not. It was so long. Yeah, it was really
I'm getting
bad.
mad just thinking about it.
I know. Except for some reason when it came to mine, it was fast.
Okay, we were just like, talking about
how did that happen so fast?
I don't know.
I think one, I have very short cycles, so it was very condensed. We would wait like 40 days sometimes, so we would like wait 20 days.
Yeah.
We also backtracked. I was like, I'm using the day one from the last thing.
So at that point we had done 3 IUIs. We'd done an at-home insemination, and then we'd done 3 embryo transfers, and then a miscarriage where at 8 weeks we found out that the heart wasn't beating the baby anymore.
And that was end of December. So, but then we did my transfer at the end of January.
And we're like, how did that work out? How did we do that?
I must have started Superfact that like right on day 21. It must have been like a few days after. I was probably like, okay, come on.
I wish I knew ahead of time how much I was going to cry the first time that I did needles at home. Do you remember how much I sobbed?
Oh, it's scary.
I was scared, and also I love you, but I didn't trust you to inject medication into me. That feels like something a doctor should do. We were actually just telling our niece about IVF and how you gave me all those needles, and she was like, why didn't a doctor do it?
Yeah, but it got a lot easier.
And you ended up... You say as the one that
No, it did. It got easier. It did. And you were able to do them yourself. I did also. Myself, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I cried a lot. I still can't believe that you or your partner just injects medication into you. It doesn't feel like that should be allowed, but...
It was kind of fun at the end. Like, it got to be, like, exciting.
Didn't it?
It's scary to get a needle in the belly.
It is.
In the butt. That was the scariest
butt
one.
Needles.
That was so
the PIO injections. They were so long and so thick.
I was scared. I'm like, I'm gonna hurt you so bad. It was scary, but you know what? It wasn't as bad as we thought. Oh, it was still scary.
For you?
Yes.
Allie's terrified of needles.
I wasn't even receiving the needle. Though, so I couldn't be scared.
She somehow got out of doing needles. Her embryo transfer is the embryo transfer that finally gave us babies, and you didn't have to do a single needle because they randomly were out.
They ran out.
They were like, "Oh no, so we don't have any."
Oh no, might not work as good. It worked fine. I had to do suppositories. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Like 3 times a day.
3
little progesterones.
Pills up the hoo-ha.
It got stuck in my urethra, I think.
I still don't think you managed to get a suppository up your urethra.
I did.
That is such a small hole. You would have to really work.
I swear to God I did, okay?
Are you telling the internet that?
It was very disturbing, and I was so scared to do it again. Anyway, I didn't have to do a single needle.
Not one.
It was amazing.
I wish I knew that depending where you live, depending on your fertility clinic, there might be a wait to get started.
Ah, yes. We had a wait time.
We did.
Also, depending where you live, you might have coverage and you may not. So we did not have any coverage at the time we did it. We had to pay completely out of pocket. Not a cent was covered. In some areas of Canada, you get a whole round of IVF covered. Right. So it depends where you live. I don't know what it's like in the US. We don't live there. So that's something to investigate.
That is.
Also,
okay.
That's it.
Well, thanks for watching. We're going to do this as a little series. Although they got to the end, you'll know this. Yeah. So we're going to do a kind of like what we wish we knew series. What we wish we knew getting married as like two women. What we wish we knew as like the non-carrying mother, as the non-biological mother. What we wish we knew before having twins. There's a lot of things to talk about. So we're going to do it sprinkled here and there through our little vlogs as like a little fun sit-down educational kind of series. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. We do look like twins.
We look identical. We should do what we wish we knew before you got a golden doodle.
What we wish we knew before niche. We got... That is very niche.
But that's something I always warn people about.
She's not what we expected, and we love her very much.
We love her. She's perfect.
She is not the dog that's been downstairs barking this whole time.
No, Elsie's good.
Rosie, though. Oh, guys. All right. We will be back soon with another video.
Why are we twins? This is very disturbing. I don't like it.